Gotta love sports.
Welcome to The Playbook, where we're talking sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat, and we're 100% digital, 100% live, and 100% real. Let's count them down. Welcome to The Playbook. It's our digital sports show. We do this every Monday at 1:45 here at R&B Philly. We go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm Mina SayWhat. I want to bring in my brother, podcaster and sportscaster, Sean Bell.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Sean, I haven't seen you in like a month, I think. I actually miss you.
Oh. What's up, boo?
Listen, when I'm watching sports, I always think, what would Sean say?
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now, too. There's a lot going on right now, too.
Absolutely. Let's hop right into it. Here are our Philly plays, our top things going on here in Philadelphia. Our Sixers took a loss to the Raptors over the weekend. Final score 110-102. This is their first win in that NBA playoff series. The Sixers are up 3-1. Now, people were predicting a sweep. A lot of things going on here. What do you think was the biggest thing that stood out to you?
They didn't want it as much. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Like the Toronto Raptors, they were in desperate mode. You could tell the Sixers weren't in desperate mode. They championship teams, when you can sweep a team or when it's a closeout game, they come out sharp. You got to take it from them. They're not just going to give it to you. If you win that game, that means you played great. This wasn't that type of situation. They didn't come out with that type of hunger to really want to cut the head off the snake. So that's all it is. Game 5, they're going to come back to Philadelphia. It's going to be a 15-point win. It's going to be easy money. So game 4 didn't bother me whatsoever.
You don't think the double and triple teams, the refereeing, the turnovers were a contributing factor? I mean, I know definitely the first 2 games are very different from the next 2 games because the last 2 were in Toronto.
No, I mean, listen, like the refs are whatever to me. Like we got all the calls in the first 3 games. Rightfully so. I thought a lot of them were right, but Nick Nurse, we keep saying you're crying, you're complaining. Now the shoe's on the other foot in Philadelphia is crying and complaining. Play better. James Harden, shoot a better percentage. Right? Like that's what it comes down to. Doc, make some better moves, make shots, play hard. Like you're way better than this team. So it doesn't matter if the refs call more fouls for them. It doesn't matter. You're that much better where it should not matter. This isn't a close matchup. This isn't close talent-wise. So it just all has to do with effort and them wanting it. That's all I saw from game 4. And they'll have it in game 5.
Absolutely. Now, one big development is that Joel Embiid has a torn ligament. An MRI over the weekend on his sprained right thumb confirmed that he has ligament tears. And sources are saying that Joel is going to have surgery after the season to fix the tear. This is what Joel had to say about the whole ordeal. I want to play. I would imagine that I keep playing and probably do something after the season. It's the playoffs. Nothing is going to stop me. So I just got to keep going and hope for the best. Do you think this is going to have an impact on us moving forward, or is it something that he can easily play through?
Oh, he's easily going to play through it, but it's going to have a little bit of an impact because of touch. Right? Like how much touch does he have? If this is what other players do, whether they're dirty or not, they're going to smack that hand. You know what I mean? If I was in the game, I'm going to smack your thumb. Like I'm going to karate chop your hand. That's just what is going to happen. And even if they don't karate chop your hand's going to get hit. It's a sport. It's physical, right? So he's going to have stretches where he doesn't have the control of the basketball that he wants. So he's going to shoot a lower percentage in certain stretches. You saw when he came out in this game, even though I thought they could have been more aggressive, he started 0 for 5, right? So there has to be an adjustment period. Kobe used to have broken fingers and shoot thousands of jump shots to figure out how to shoot with a broken right finger, right? Like, so that's what he's going to have to do. Like, hey, do I have to put a little more touch here? Do I float it a little bit more here? Where's my hand placement? Because again, Joel's shooting a lot of jump shots. So he's going to have to figure that out. So it's going to be a problem a little bit.
That's actually a really good point. Just all-star, amazing, legendary players playing through injury. I was really concerned about it being his right hand, but you're absolutely right. I mean, Kobe would have figured it out, and he's going to figure it out. It's not like
Yeah.
he's sitting out. I just think it's impacted his game, especially in game 4, where you literally saw him holding on to his hand a lot of the times. And when he's getting double and triple teamed, that was forcing some turnovers. So I'm worried about it. I need our guy to be 100%, especially since it looks like we're playing the Heat next, and Jimmy Butler don't play.
Yeah, and the Heat like to rough you up. And that's what they do. So they're gonna test out every part of that hand. They're gonna test out every part of James Harden's hamstring. So it is what it is. But he's gonna battle through it. But he's not going to be, if it continues to get hit, as efficient as he usually is.
What do you say about Siakam saying that Joel plays dirty? Do you see that?
I don't think Joel plays dirty. I think
Yeah, he's a center. He's gonna rough you up a little bit. What are you talking about?
I think like the one time where Joel like tackled him a little bit. It was almost like he was about to tackle him. Like a lot of players have little annoying antics is what I call you. Joel Embiid has some annoying antics where I'm gonna do something to annoy you a little bit. You saw it with Chris Paul, where he'll do little things where he hits you one way to annoy you. It's antics a little bit. So yeah, I think Joel Embiid has some of that in him. Do I think he's a dirty player? Hell no. He's not dirty. But he's gonna bother you, and he's gonna do some things to bother you.
I just think they're a little salty. A lot of conversation, especially from the coach, has been the ref, the ref, the ref. It's funny, the refereeing kind of worked in their favor in game 4, and Joel Embiid had to clap it up for the refs. Watch this. Or not.
Go center after the Raptors take game 4, 110 to 102, and Joel applauding the Raptors for their efforts here this afternoon.
So I wanted to bring that up. He's actually applauding the refs, but I wanted to bring that up because Joel said in the same press conference where he's talking about the MRI, he was very clear and he said, look, if the refs aren't going to call the fouls, I'm going to be more aggressive.
Stop crying.
Is that what that is?
Like again, when Toronto did it, we said they were crying, right?
Right.
Like, cry baby Nick Nurse. Right, like sometimes the reffing and the calls aren't going to fully go your way, and you got to adjust. And it is what it is. And I'm not even mad at the coaches and the players saying something at the press conference. That used to be a classic Phil Jackson thing. Phil Jackson used to say, point things out, and then all of a sudden the refs would give him that call the next game for his team. Like that's what good coaches do. That's what good teams do. You probably try to put it on the ref's radar, and so the next game they call some of the things you want them to call. So that's I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, all the theatrics stop.
Yeah.
Clapping for the refs and all. Just go out there and ball out, man.
Well, there's definitely a lot of theatrics going on, especially from Drake and his braids. So after the Raptors forced a game 5, Drake decided to taunt Joel Embiid with this photoshopped Instagram post. Now, the original picture is the NBA Rookie of the Year, who actually is a Raptor, Scotty Barnes, holding up his trophy. As we can see, the trophy has been replaced with Joel. And then Drake said, what happened to the sweep? See you when you get back. I don't know what drug Drake is on, but we will not be back in Toronto. But I just get so annoyed with Drake. Every year he does this. He's on the court. He's doing the most. Sir, just sit down and let the basketball players do what they do.
He's a troll, man. Like people hate what Kevin Hart does at football games, and why are you trying to like Joel is 10 times worse than anything that Kevin Hart does, right? And it's just like Drake, what happened to the sweep? Are you proud that you won 1 game out of 4?
Right.
Like that's where you're putting your mantle. You didn't sweep us. Like that's the type of that is trash talking. Okay, that's terrible trash talking that you're happy not to get swept. So come on, step your game up if you're going to trash talk us, Drake.
Yeah, and then he's always flip-flopping. He's like Joel's friend, then he's talking trash. Like, what are we doing here, sir?
You could be friends. You could be friends and trash talk. It's all in good fun because they all know Drake and they all hang out with him in the off season. But just get better trash talk, Drake.
Agreed. Now, speaking of trash talk, Ben Simmons is getting a lot of it today. So he was supposed to make his season debut with the Nets tonight, actually. But in a not surprising move to the Philly fans, because we knew how fickle this guy is, he has been ruled out for tonight with a back strain. Apparently, he had like over a week, maybe 2 weeks of him feeling fine. And then all of a sudden, over the weekend, his back strain is acting up again. His team is on the verge of getting swept by the Celtics. You would think this man has a little bit more competitiveness in him, but no, he's more worried about his outfit, clearly, than playing basketball. Sean, what's going on with this guy here?
I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to be the one person not to kill him right now. Because you ever have a partner or ex-boyfriend who did something so ridiculous or so weird or so I don't know that you were like, no, wait a minute, there has to be something wrong with you. You like before I get angry and yell at you, like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay up here? Like, what's your problem? Like, that's the point I'm at with Ben Simmons right now. Like, I'm like, there has to be something wrong. Like upstairs, like, and he said mental issues. Who knows whether he was just saying that to get money? I don't know. But at this point, I'm at that point. Like when a partner does something stupid, you're like, no, I gotta get you up here. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you that you think that's okay, right? So I'm not gonna kill him because in my back of my head, I'm like, there's got to be something that we don't know. Like, there's got to be some mental issues. I really hope you're just not that
all along.
selfish.
You think he really has mental issues? Yeah,
I'm really hoping he's not that selfish and dumb, and he could be. But this has been something none of us has ever seen in sports before, ever, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something wrong with you, and I'm going to just step back for a second and just not even comment because something upstairs. There's a problem.
I think the more egregious part for me is the fact that he can do this. And I think when they go back to the NBA collective bargaining agreement, coaches are going to bring Ben Simmons up and there's going to be something that comes out of this because the fact that he can do this, it just sets a precedent for other players to be able to do it too.
Nope. And I'm going to surprise you again. Nope. They're not going to do anything about it. Here's why. Then they have to address the John Wall situation. Okay. Remember John Wall? Remember when he came back from injury last year and averaged 20 and 10 and they said, sit down, we're not playing you? And he wants to play and he's getting paid for it, but he's trying to play. He begged to play and he'd be their best player. But because they wanted to lose and give their young guys some time, they sat him down so he didn't win them more games. So if you deal with the Ben Simmons situation, then you got to talk about the opposite situation. That's what the Players Association is going to bring up. Okay, if you're going to talk about Ben and he needs to do that and not get paid, then let's talk about John Wall. You got to play him. And I know this John Wall wasn't the topic, but I felt like this needs to be talked about more. So I threw that in here with this situation.
No, I understand where you're coming from, right?
That needs to be handled. But then they're going to have to handle the John Wall situation also.
I just think if you're getting paid to play, you should play. and that's really what it comes down to. And if you're not going to play, then we shouldn't be paying you. And it's just crazy. And his teammates are starting to get frustrated at this point as well. I don't know if Ben Simmons is going to be with them for much longer. He might be out of there without even playing a game.
I don't know. I don't know what KD, who you can say what you want about KD. He all he does is want to hoop. And he's a no nonsense dude when it comes to just saying I want to hoop. So I don't know what he's looking at saying to Ben Simmons right now.
Yeah, I know Seth Curry and Andre Drummond are probably like, "Come on, man, we were
trying
just
to
dealing
get
with
they trying to get away."
All right, let's take a quick bracket break and see what the playoffs are looking like overall. As we talked about, the Nets are looking like they're going to get swept. They have a game tonight. I don't think they're going to get swept. I think they're going to pull one out tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, they'll pull one out. Maybe they even pull two out because KD's having the worst series of his career. I can't see KD continue not having one outstanding game. So they're not going to get swept. But I'm ain't nobody stopping the Golden State Warriors, in my opinion. Ooh, buddy. Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. If there's a new splash brother in town, they look like they did in 2015 and 2016 and 2017. They look like the best team in the NBA right now, especially with the Phoenix Suns not having Devin Booker. They are a problem.
So you have them winning the whole thing?
Yeah. And I had them winning the whole thing before the playoffs started, but now I feel more confident about that pick.
Right. We'll get back to this later on because we got to talk about the Sixers tonight and then their upcoming matchup, okay? But very surprising in Philadelphia was the announcement of Coach Jay Wright retiring after 21 seasons, 2 national championships as the men's head coach at Villanova. Jay Wright said he lacked the same edge this season that he's had in the past. Here's exactly what he had to say.
Felt like this year, like I wasn't the guy bringing the most energy this year. I always felt like I was throughout our career, I always felt like I brought the energy. And I knew we had guys like George Halkovich and Dwayne Anderson and Mike Nardi. Those guys are ready to do this, and Kyle Neptune's ready. So I was like, this is the time those guys can bring it, and this is the time to let them take over.
If someone said you could take a sabbatical, did you ever even think about that?
Our president, our athletic director, offered that to me. They said, just take a year off. I feel like you got to be all in. We got to be all in 100%. We say to our players, you're either 100% in or you're against us. And I felt like I don't ever want to be against this program. I want to be 100% in.
You're sitting in the sands now, dude.
Yeah.
But is there one memory that
I don't say there's
moment?
I don't think there's one, Seth, but every time I walk in here, it's the thrill of being the coach of Villanova. Just walking out onto this court, that I'm going to miss that.
And the players.
I'm looking forward to a new relationship. Like I'm saying, like, I want to go to breakfast with Eric Dixon and Justin Moore and talk about life and not yell at them about being in a defensive stance and let Kyle yell at them. I remember when Coach Mass used to come back and be loving these guys up, and they would tell me, oh, I love Coach Mass. I was like, that's not the guy that I work for. I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy.
So very teary-eyed. Do you think it's really about him just not having an edge? Because there's been a lot of changes in college basketball, especially now with the players now able to be paid. Do you think this is really what he's saying it is?
Yeah. He's not like Roy Williams and Coach K and Jim Boeheim, those really older guys, those guys who are, probably 10 years older, who get some of these primetime athletes and they had to really deal with those type of situations of pain. He's not one of those guys. He's always, and ever since I've talked to him and known him, always been for the players and always been able to deal with any type of player. On top of that, he doesn't get those type of players. Right? Like his players will get paid, but he doesn't get the players who get paid. He doesn't get the 5-star recruits, right? Like he got Jalen Brunson, who was a 5-star and a couple here and there, but mostly he doesn't get the one and done players. So he doesn't have to worry about some of those things that the other coaches complain about, but he's burnt out. Think about how many coaches coach for 20 plus years without a break. Most coaches, whether it's Nick Saban or whoever you want to say, take a break somewhere. They get fired or they retire and then they come back, or they at least change the scenery where they go, okay, I've been here for 15 years. I'm a coach over here now.
Right.
21 years with that type of energy without a break. Like I can see him coming back at some point.
Yes.
But I truly think it's because, dog, I'm burnt out and I'm not going to take a 1-year sabbatical because that's unfair to my assistants who are looking to be head coaches, to give them a head coaching job and then snatch it away. Like, that's just not fair to them. So I can see him taking 3 years off and then be like, okay, I got the itch. I can see that happening. But 20 plus years without coaching, and coaching is 24/7.
Right.
So he's burnt out.
I agree with you. I think he is going to come back, and I think it would be selfish for him to be like, I'm going to take a timeout, because it puts the next person in limbo. But I do know that in college basketball, there's a lot of flux going on with the players getting paid, and it's adding like a whole new set of headaches for a lot of these coaches and a lot of these programs. But to your point, that might not be the case here. But yeah, I do see him coming back. I do see him pulling a Tom Brady. Like, okay,
well, no,
I'm ready to
not
come back.
that quick. Not after being retired.
Not a
for
year,
over
right?
2-3
Not
months.
2 months. All right, let's move on to baseball right now. So our Phils have acquired some new people, but we're still a little up and down. We lost to the Brewers yesterday, 1-0. Kyle Schwarber had a chance in the ninth to possibly make something happen, and this is what happened.
Here it comes. Called strike 3, and Schwarber is thrown out of the game, and he had zero issue with getting thrown out. Making it very clear, you've missed him inside, outside, up and down. Kyle Schwarber thrown out after being punched out by Angel Hernandez. And Joe may go too.
I mean, this guy, Angel Hernandez, literally was not getting anything. How frustrating was it to watch this game? And why is this guy still an umpire?
Yeah, he's the worst rated umpire.
Right.
So it's they know about him. This is nothing new. And you can see Schwarber was like, no, both teams think you suck. It's not just me. It's not just my teammates, both team. And you saw Andrew McCutchen made our guy. I love Andrew McCutchen when he was a Philadelphia Phillies, but he was complaining about him too. He was smirking, saying, "Yeah, I hate him." So it's frustrating.
So what do you think overall about the team? Because I think there were very high expectations, and we've been very up and down. They recently changed the lineup. I mean, what are you seeing at this point?
Well, they're not what you thought they were.
Well, clearly,
it's pretty simple. Like they have issues all over. The starting pitch, and Aaron Nola finally has a great game, but then the bats can't get it done. When the bats are going pretty well, the pitching isn't going well. Ranger Suarez isn't having that type of season he had last year. Zach Wheeler, hasn't been very good either, but he's coming off an injury. So it's just been bad all the way around. I do think the hitting is going to get back because, it's a long season. It's 162 games. All right. So Bryce Harper is going to be Bryce Harper, et cetera, et cetera. But the pitching is going to continue to struggle.
All right. Well, let's look at our Phils and the plays that they have this week. They will play the Rockies again, which we struggled with about a week ago. And it's quite a stretch with the Rockies and then the Mets again. What are you seeing from this lineup? It's hard. They're still like in fluctuation. You can't really get any consistency from this team at this point.
You better do something before you get to the Mets. I know that much. The Mets are 12-5, and they are the pitching, batting. They're doing everything. They're looking like the best team in the league next to the Dodgers right now. So, and they got to play the Mets a lot in the first month and a half. So you better get some wins against the Rockies before you get to the Mets, because the Mets are going to put you really behind the 8 ball in the division. So again, I think they'll round into shape at some point. The bats are going to come alive at some point, but it may take a while. Yeah.
Let's take a look at what our Sixers are doing. So tonight, game 5, we should wrap up this series. Obviously, if we don't, we'll be back in Toronto, which is what Drake thinks is going to happen on Thursday. That's not going to happen. We have Matisse Thybulle coming back. He was not able to play away with Toronto. And no Van Vliet. He has a strained hip flexor. So the Raptors are down a player, and now we're up one of our very important players. We should get this W tonight.
Yeah, it's over. Like I said earlier in the show, no Fred VanVleet. I mean, the Raptors have been injured. I originally picked the Sixers to win in 6, but the Raptors have been injured all series long. So that's going to make it a shorter series. No Fred VanVleet, the veteran. Pascal Siakam's going to go to work. But it won't be enough to overcome. And Joel Embiid's going to come in pissed off, and that crowd's going to be crazy.
Real quickly, the Heat looks like it's going to be our next opponent. What do you see from that series?
I see a tough team that plays smart. It's a bunch of veterans with championship type of DNA that's going to give us problems, especially because the inconsistency. James Harden, inconsistent when it comes to shooting the ball. Okay, now Joel Embiid has a thumb injury. If he's not shooting 55% from the field, then that's going to be a problem. Then all of a sudden people think you can single cover him. Tyrese Maxey, great young kid, but he's 21. He's going to throw out a dud every once in a while, like the last game, because of his youth. And Miami's going to say, nah, young boy, we're going to take that away. Okay. This is your first time being a priority, and we're going to make sure you feel that. So listen, I'm leaning towards the Heat right now, but I hope it ain't true. But Miami's going to give Philadelphia everything.
Why you be throwing Tyrese shade, man?
It ain't shade. He's 21.
Yo, ever since this kid has been starting, you're like, he's 21. He's 21. Well, Can he be great? Can he be great?
He's not Kobe. This is though he's going to be great, but he's not going to be great in time for them to win a championship this year. James Harden has to be the second best player. He has to be Houston James Harden if we want to win a championship.
Okay. Sean Bell, ladies and gentlemen.
Tyrese, I love you, bro. I love you. I do. But James, step up. You got to be the number 2.
Where can they find you, Sean?
Sean Bell Live everywhere.
Yes. And here every other week, it's the Playbook, our digital sports show. Mondays at 1:45. I'm Mina SayWhat. Talk to you next week. Thanks for watching The Playbook. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat, and you got something you want to talk about next week? You can always hit me up on social media at Mina SayWhat, and make sure you join us 1:45 next Monday on R&B Philly's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.